Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to look at a completely mundane, everyday event. I'm talking about something so ordinary you wouldn't even look twice. But if you really let this sink in, it's going to completely shake the rock-solid foundation of reality as you know it. We're exploring this fascinating, brilliantly ambitious essay by Saladin Sikander called The Cosmic Determinism of Altaf Hussain. What starts as a simple story about a guy just crossing the street is about to project mankind and our ultimate fate from the absolute highest levels of existence.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what we're about to unpack, I want you to consider this quote from the philosopher Johann Gottlieb Fichte. He said, "My imagination alone shall flow audaciously and boldly over the wreckage of the universe." I mean, wow, right? That grand tone signals right out of the gate that we are dealing with far more than a story about a pedestrian in traffic. We're embarking on this deep, philosophical inquisition that takes a totally ordinary moment, puts it on the rack, and examines it from a myriad of mind-bending intellectual perspectives.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The micro, a minor traffic accident. So to understand the cosmos, we actually have to start small, micro-level small. Let me set the scene for you. The year is 2023. The place is the bustling Jinnah Super Market in Islamabad, and our protagonist is a guy named Altaf Hussain, an assistant professor of history at IMCB F-7. As he's crossing the road, he gets into a minor traffic accident. Now, on the surface, this looks like a completely random chance occurrence, right? Just a bit of bad luck. A pedestrian and a car simply being in the wrong place at the exact wrong time. We see these things happen every single day, and we just assume it's the chaotic nature of life. But, as we're about to see, that assumption couldn't possibly be more wrong. Which brings us to part 2, the domino effect, the unbroken chain of destiny.
Now we're going to dramatically widen the lens. Just think about the absolute brilliance of this unbroken chain. Eons ago, ancient stellar explosions occurred, forging the very elements that are necessary for life. Fast forward to 1923, and the land that would eventually become Islamabad is sheer wilderness. Then in 1973, Altaf Hussain is born. And finally, 50 years later in 2023, the unavoidable accident occurs. The author points out that cosmic forces literally conspired over eons of cause and effect to ensure Altaf's presence at that precise space-time coordinate. The universe itself had been working to put him in that intersection since the dawn of time.
It's like a giant puzzle with clockwork precision. Altaf walked under the illusion of free agency, sure, but his past decisions, his thoughts, and thousands of external factors created this inescapable web. If you alter even one tiny variable in this mechanism, the accident entirely vanishes. Think about it. If he was born in 1823 instead of 1973, no accident. If you got a job teaching at IMCB G10 instead of F7, no accident. If he just had a slightly delayed phone call, or maybe a slightly quicker walking stride, the car would have missed him completely. Nature, without any malice at all, perfectly staged this exact collision.
Part 3. The Matrix of Perception, Biology versus Reality.
So, we've looked at the external timeline. Now we really need to transition into the internal mind, because we have to ask a pretty wild question. Was the bustling market Altaf walked through even real? Altaf fully believed he was moving through a tangible world, cars, shops, the hustle and bustle. But as the philosopher Thomas Nagel illustrated in his famous essay, What Is It Like to Be a Bat?, human perception is completely species-specific. Had a bat flown over Jinnah Super Market that exact same day, its sensory reality, relying on echolocation, would utterly, completely diverge from Altaf's, which proves that what we experience as reality is really just a biological magic trick conjured up by our brains.
To Altaf, the market was basically a simulation. He was like a prisoner in Plato's cave, looking at shadows dancing on a wall and totally mistaking them for true substance. Or, to use a more modern comparison, he was experiencing a blue pill virtuality straight out of the Matrix. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman even argues that this bustling market was merely an apparition, a collective delusion sculpted by human biology, not objective reality. Altaf's brain ensnared him in this web of causation that he completely mistook for the real, objective world.
Which brings us to Immanuel Kant's concept of transcendental idealism. So the crucial point here is this impassable gap. On one side, there's the phenomenal world, where space and time are just forms of intuition our brains use to structure experience. And on the other side, there is the noumenal world, what Kant called the Ding in sich, or the thing in itself, This is the actual objective reality that remains forever beyond our sensory grasp. Altaf could only ever feel the phenomenal crash. He could literally never access the noumenal truth of it.
Part 4. The Cosmic Tapestry. Viewing Eternity.
Okay, let's zoom out. From the inner biological workings of the human brain all the way out to the absolute macro level of the universe's sheer scale. To truly grasp this mundane traffic accident, the author tells us we need a much grander lens. Subspecie aeternitas. It's a profound concept from the philosopher Spinoza, and it means to view things under the aspect of eternity. Grasping this requires a fertile imagination and a real taste for the sublime. It means abandoning our narrow daily focus and instead voyaging wildly into the cosmos' distant past and future to see the true shape of things. Just take a second to let the massive scale of that perspective shift really sink in.
Because when you adopt that perspective, you realize something breathtaking. As the author beautifully writes, stars died so that Altaf could live. We, the stargazers, recognize Altaf Hussain as stardust. This directly connects those ancient stellar explosions we talked about earlier to the very man crossing the street in Islamabad today. He isn't just a pedestrian. He is a conscious fragment of the cosmos, forged by incredible historical, geographical, and geological forces.
And the city he walks through is just as profound. In an author's note, Sikandar frames his long walks through Islamabad with his friend Altaf. He notes that the city is in a state of constant flux. He echoes the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, who famously said the only constant is change, and even compares it to the shifting landscapes in H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. Islamabad is constantly transforming, but its spirit endures, acting as an ever-changing stage perfectly constructed just for Altaf's fate to unfold.
Part 5. The Fate of Mankind. Phantom Actors in Shadow Plays.
So let's bring this directly back to you, the viewer. Because if Altaf's reality is just a biological illusion, and his actions are actually cosmic destiny, what does that mean for you watching this right now? The essay introduces the philosopher Martin Heidegger's idea of Dasein, or being there. Altaf, the driver of that car, the shoppers in the market, and yes, you watching this explainer, we are all conscious subjects who have simply been thrown into our circumstances. We are driven by unseen, unfathomable cosmic forces toward our specific moments in time, living briefly under the sun.
There is this beautiful, haunting verse that perfectly captures the metaphor. "'Tis nothing but a magic shadow show, played in a box whose candle is the sun, round which we phantom figures come and go." We think we are the main characters, right? The ones directing the play? But from the highest philosophical perspective, mankind is simply made up of phantom actors in a cosmic shadow play. Which brings us to the ultimate consequence of this cosmic determinism. If an unbroken chain of stardust, geography, and biology perfectly orchestrated a random accident in an Islamabad market, are you really living authentically? Are you making real choices? Or are you, just like Altaf Hussain crossing the street, passively being swept along by cosmic currents far, far beyond your command?